Imagine this. You've been told to cut out bread, pasta, rice, to avoid carbs at all costs if you want to control your blood sugar. But what if I told you, cutting carbs isn't the fastest way to fix your glucose? In fact, I've seen it time and time again. Patients who followed low-carb diets still struggling with dangerous sugar spikes, until they made one simple change. They added the right foods instead of just eliminating the wrong ones. Yes, added. Because the real key to lowering blood sugar naturally isn't starvation. It's nutrition. Specific foods that act like metabolic medicine, calming inflammation, restoring insulin sensitivity, and clearing sugar from the blood without a single pill. And the results? One patient dropped his fasting glucose by 42 milligrams per deciliter in just 3 days. Another saw her hemoglobin A1C fall below diabetic range, without medication, just by eating 2 of these foods every day. So here's the real question. If these foods are so powerful, why aren't more people using them? Why haven't you been told? Is it because they're hidden behind fancy marketing terms? Or is it because most diabetic diets focus on restriction, not restoration? In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through 10 science-backed foods that can help you lower blood sugar quickly and naturally. I'll break down the nutrients, the mechanisms, the exact amounts you need, and how to safely add them to your daily meals. And I promise you this. Number 4 will flip everything you've been told about diabetes on its head. Ready to see the truth? Let's get started. 1. Fenugreek seeds. This tiny bitter seed might just be the most underrated glucose-lowering food on the planet. Why? Because fenugreek seeds don't just support insulin, they retrain it. At the heart of their power is a rare compound called 4-hydroxyisolecine. This natural amino acid targets the pancreas and helps it release insulin only when your blood sugar is high. Not randomly, not all day, just when your body actually needs it. That means no unnecessary insulin surges, no roller coaster crashes, just a smarter, more targeted insulin response. But that's only half the story. Fenugreek seeds are also packed with a soluble fiber called galactomannan. When you soak the seeds, this fiber forms a thick gel in your digestive tract. And that gel? It slows down the absorption of glucose after meals, the exact moment when most diabetics experience their biggest spikes. So, what does the research say? A 2020 meta-analysis confirmed that fenugreek seeds reduce fasting blood sugar, lower A1C, and even improve LDL cholesterol. And additional studies suggest benefits for blood pressure and testosterone as well, especially in men over 60. To get started, soak 1 teaspoon of fenugreek seeds, about 5 grams, in 100 milliliters of water overnight. In the morning, drink the water and chew the softened seeds. Do this daily. Most studies use doses between 5 to 20 grams per day, but always begin small to avoid digestive discomfort. And a word of caution, if you're currently on diabetes medications, combining both could cause blood sugar to drop too low. Always talk to your doctor before adding it to your regimen. What about the next food? It's a common kitchen spice, one that might already be sitting in your cabinet. And it's been shown to work like a natural insulin sensitizer. Let's talk about cinnamon. 2. Cinnamon. It's sweet, it's aromatic, and it might be the most powerful natural insulin sensitizer sitting in your kitchen right now. Cinnamon isn't just a flavor, it's a glucose warrior. Inside every pinch is a compound called cinnamaldehyde. And this isn't just a spice molecule, it's a molecular switch, one that activates a critical insulin signaling pathway in your cells known as IRS1-PI3K. Here's why that matters. When you're insulin resistant, the receptors on your cells, think of them like locks, get rusty. No matter how much insulin your body makes, the key can't open the door. Sugar stays in the blood, and inflammation takes over. But cinnamaldehyde acts like WD-40 for those rusty locks. It restores insulin sensitivity helping your cells respond better, faster, and more effectively. That's not all. Cinnamon also slows down how fast food leaves your stomach, giving your pancreas more time to produce insulin. And it blocks certain enzymes, like alpha amylase, from breaking down carbs too quickly. The result? Lower post-meal blood sugar and fewer crashes. And the proof? A 2024 meta-analysis of 24 randomized controlled trials showed that cinnamon significantly reduced fasting blood sugar, A1C, and insulin resistance markers. How much do you need? Just 1 to 2 grams per day, around half a teaspoon, is enough to produce real, measurable effects. Sprinkle it into tea, coffee, or oatmeal. But be careful which type you choose. Cassia cinnamon is common but high in coumarin, a compound that can damage the liver in high doses. Choose Ceylon cinnamon, also called true cinnamon, for safety and purity. Now, let's take a sharp left turn. What if I told you red meat could lower blood sugar? Only if it's the right kind. 3. Grass-fed beef red meat usually gets a bad reputation, especially for people with diabetes. But here's the twist. The right kind of red meat can actually improve insulin sensitivity. The secret lies in grass-fed beef. Unlike conventional grain-fed beef, grass-fed beef contains higher levels of omega-3 fatty acids, especially alpha-linolenic acid, and a special fat called conjugated linoleic acid, or CLA. And CLA does something remarkable. It activates a metabolic switch in your cells, a receptor called PPAR-gamma. This same receptor is targeted by diabetes medications, like pioglitazone. When activated, it pulls glucose into your muscle cells, where it's used for energy instead of floating around in your bloodstream causing damage. Grass-fed beef is also rich in L-carnitine, a compound that helps transport fat into your mitochondria, where it's burned instead of stored. That means less liver fat, more energy, and better blood sugar balance overall. And don't forget the critical micronutrients, vitamin B12, iron, and zinc. All of them play key roles in glucose metabolism and mitochondrial function. But here's the key. Red meat only helps if it's clean, unprocessed, and balanced with fiber. So if you're going to include beef in your diet, choose grass-fed cuts. Avoid processed forms like sausages or deli meats, and always pair it with fiber-rich vegetables to support digestion and glucose regulation. Now, if meat surprised you, wait until you hear about the fatty fruit that reprograms your metabolism from the inside out. Let's talk about avocados. 4. Avocados. Most people avoid fat when trying to manage diabetes. But what if the right kind of fat is exactly what your metabolism needs? That's where avocados come in. Avocados are loaded with oleic acid, a heart-healthy monounsaturated fat that doesn't just lower inflammation. It also reduces fat buildup in the liver. And that's a big deal, because excess liver fat is one of the leading causes of insulin resistance. When you remove fat from the liver, insulin starts working again. Blood sugar goes down, energy levels go up. But that's not all. Avocados are also a rich source of potassium, over 480 milligrams per half fruit, which helps regulate the electrical signals in your cells, improving how insulin is released and how glucose is absorbed. And here's the kicker. Avocados help you feel full longer. One study found that adding just half an avocado to a meal increased satiety for up to 5 hours. That means fewer cravings, less snacking, and more stable blood sugar throughout the day. You can slice them on whole grain toast, add them to salads, or blend them into a smoothie. Just make sure to keep portions reasonable, around 1/2 to 1 avocado per day, so you get the benefits without overdoing calories. And now, from a soft, creamy fruit to a crunchy, sprouting superfood. This next plant may be small, but its ability to reprogram your glucose metabolism rivals even prescription drugs. Let's dive into broccoli sprouts. 5th, broccoli sprouts. This next food is only a few centimeters tall, but it can flip your blood sugar switch like a pharmaceutical drug. We're talking about broccoli sprouts, the baby version of mature broccoli. These sprouts are one of the richest natural sources of a compound called sulforaphane. And sulforaphane isn't just another antioxidant. It activates a powerful genetic pathway in your body called NRF2, often described as your internal thermostat for inflammation and oxidative stress. When NRF2 is turned on, your cells respond by protecting your mitochondria, your energy factories, lowering inflammation, and most importantly, reducing glucose production by the liver. That last point is key, because one of the hidden causes of high fasting blood sugar is gluconeogenesis, the liver pumping out sugar even when you haven't eaten. Sulforaphane helps shut that down, just like the diabetes drug metformin. And the results are fast and powerful. Broccoli sprouts contain 20 to 100 times more sulforaphane precursors than regular broccoli. So, just half a cup of raw sprouts per day is enough to create therapeutic effects. You can eat them fresh in salads, layer them in wraps, or blend them into green smoothies. But consistency is everything. Sulforaphane has a short half-life, so the key is daily use, or at least 4 to 5 times per week. Now, what if there were a seed, tiny and tasteless, that you could soak in water and it would literally act like a speed bump for sugar? That's exactly what chia seeds do. 6. Chia seeds. At first glance, chia seeds don't look like much, but soak them in water and something magical happens. They swell into a soft, gelatinous texture, forming a natural gel that transforms how your body absorbs sugar. This gel slows the digestion of carbohydrates, acting like a speed bump in your digestive tract. Instead of flooding your bloodstream with glucose all at once, your body absorbs it slowly, steadily, and safely. And that means fewer spikes, less insulin resistance, and better energy all day long. But chia seeds aren't just about fiber. They're also packed with alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid. This specific fat has been shown to reduce chronic inflammation, one of the root causes of insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. The research backs it up. A meta-analysis involving over 210 participants found that daily chia seed consumption significantly reduced C-reactive protein, a marker of inflammation linked directly to poor blood sugar control. Want to use chia seeds effectively? Start with 1 to 2 tablespoons per day. That's around 15 to 30 grams. Soaked in 100 to 150 milliliters of water for at least 30 minutes. Add them to yogurt, oatmeal, smoothies, or drink them straight as chia water. They're tasteless, versatile, and incredibly easy to use. But now, let's shift to one food that's been unfairly blamed for years, when in reality, it may be one of the best tools for restoring insulin function and building lean muscle. Let's talk about eggs. 7. Eggs. For years, eggs were demonized for cholesterol. But when it comes to blood sugar balance, eggs are not the enemy. They're a quiet powerhouse. Why? Because eggs are packed with high-quality protein and healthy fats, both of which help stabilize blood sugar after meals. But the real magic lies in 2 specific nutrients, choline and leucine. Let's start with choline. Choline helps your liver process and export fat, especially the kind that builds up and causes insulin resistance. By reducing liver fat, choline plays a critical role in restoring insulin sensitivity, and it's a nutrient most people don't get enough of. Then comes leucine, an essential amino acid that stimulates muscle protein synthesis. And here's the secret. The more lean muscle mass you have, the more efficiently your body clears glucose from the bloodstream. That's why building or maintaining muscle is so important for reversing insulin resistance. Each egg contains around 125 milligrams of choline and over 1 gram of leucine. So even 1 or 2 eggs per day can deliver significant benefits. Just make sure to eat the whole egg. The yolk contains most of the choline and other nutrients. Avoid separating it unless medically advised. boiled, scrambled, or poached. Eggs are easy, versatile, and incredibly effective when eaten as part of a blood sugar-friendly breakfast. Now let's turn to a protein from the sea. Fatty fish doesn't just support heart health. It has a direct and powerful impact on post-meal glucose regulation. Let's explore why. 8. Fatty fish. When most people think of fatty fish, they think of heart health. But here's what many don't realize. Omega-3 fatty acids can directly improve blood sugar control, especially after meals. Fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel are packed with 2 biologically active omega-3s, EPA, eicosapentaenoic acid, and DHA, docosahexaenoic acid. These compounds don't just float around in your body. They're actively involved in changing how your cells behave. Here's how it works. Chronic inflammation is one of the core drivers of insulin resistance. When cells are inflamed, they stop responding to insulin properly. But omega-3s help calm that inflammation, reducing oxidative stress and improving insulin sensitivity at the cellular level. And the results are measurable. In one clinical trial, participants who ate 750 grams of fatty fish per week, that's about 3 to 4 servings, for 8 weeks experienced significantly better post-meal glucose regulation. EPA and DHA also improve lipid profiles, reduce triglycerides, and protect blood vessels from damage, all of which are critical for diabetics. To get the full benefits, aim for 2 to 3 servings per week of wild-caught fatty fish. Grilled, baked, or canned in water or olive oil. Just avoid frying or breading. And if you can't eat fish, a high-quality fish oil supplement with at least 1,000 milligrams of combined EPA and DHA per day is a strong alternative. Now let's move from the ocean to the orchard, because the next food is a nut, but not just any nut. This one boosts insulin function at the hormonal level. Let's talk about walnuts. 9. Walnuts. Walnuts aren't just brain food, they're blood sugar stabilizers. What makes them so powerful? It starts with a hormone called adiponectin. Adiponectin plays a key role in how your body responds to insulin and regulates glucose levels. Higher levels mean better blood sugar control, faster glucose uptake by muscle cells, and reduced inflammation throughout the body. And here's the good news. Walnuts naturally increase adiponectin. In one 16-week randomized controlled trial, participants who ate 43 grams of walnuts per day, that's about a handful, showed significant improvements in adiponectin levels, fasting glucose, and overall metabolic health. But that's not all. Walnuts are also a rich source of magnesium, which is a cofactor in over 300 enzymatic reactions, including those involved in insulin signaling and glucose transport. Low magnesium levels are directly linked to poor blood sugar control, and many adults, especially seniors, are unknowingly deficient. Plus, walnuts contain alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid that stabilizes the cellular membrane around insulin receptors, making them more responsive. The best part? Walnuts are convenient. You don't need to soak or cook them. Just grab a 28 to 43 gram serving per day, plain, raw, or lightly toasted, and add them to salads, oatmeal, or eat them on their own. Now, we've saved one of the most surprising for last. This next food isn't flashy, but it contains a special starch that reteaches your body how to handle glucose efficiently. Let's talk about chickpeas. 10. Chickpeas. They're humble, they're beige, and they've been a staple in Mediterranean diets for centuries. But what most people don't realize is that chickpeas can actually retrain your body to handle glucose more efficiently. The key lies in 2 things: resistant starch and fermentable fiber. First, chickpeas are rich in a type of slow-digesting starch called amylose. Unlike the fast carbs in white bread or pasta, amylose digests at a much slower pace, which means your blood sugar rises gradually, not in dramatic spikes. This steady release gives your pancreas time to respond. Your insulin levels stay balanced, and you avoid the crashes that lead to cravings and fatigue. But here's where it gets even better. Chickpeas also contain fermentable fiber. the kind your gut bacteria love. These fibers are broken down into short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, which strengthen the gut lining, reduce systemic inflammation, and activate AMPK, a metabolic enzyme that boosts your body's ability to burn glucose. It's like a full-body reset. To get the benefits, aim for 1 cup of cooked chickpeas 2 to 3 times per week. That's around 165 grams per serving. You can roast them as a snack, toss them into salads, blend them into hummus, or mix them into stews. However you enjoy them, consistency is key. Now that you've discovered all 10 foods, the question becomes, how do you start using them together to fix your blood sugar for good? Let's wrap this up. You now know the truth. You don't need extreme diets. You don't need to fear food. What you need is the right food. Foods that support insulin, reduce inflammation, and help your body clear sugar naturally. When you build your meals around these science-backed foods, you're not just lowering glucose. You're rebuilding your health from the inside out. You'll feel it in your energy. You'll see it in your numbers. And most of all, you'll know you're back in control. So here's the challenge. Try adding just one of these foods today. Then come back tomorrow and build from there. And if you're ready to take charge of your blood sugar, drop a yes in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this, because the most powerful medicine might already be on your plate.